That's not my thing, yo.
I feel you on that. I think the thing with her appointment and then yeah, her appointment and also being confirmed in the nomination, it's about symbolism and what it represents. And the fact that there are black girls, I think less than 2% of black women who are attorneys, Shannon being one of those less than 2%. And when you have a field that is dominated by white males, but yet you still have that small minority that is persistent and still working, I'm sure we could pull out examples of black women who have their own independent firms who are literally trying their best to be able to have a face, because it is hard for a black woman to even get time as a trial attorney. Just as a, just as an example. So I think her appointment is also symbolism, it's visibility. And that visibility, I think, also helps support the esteem of black women, black girls. I remember being a debater and I got a statue upstairs of a woman who's standing before the Supreme Court as an attorney and she's arguing. That had always been a dream of mine. Not once was I thinking to myself, maybe one day I could have been that judge who sat on the bench until her appointment and her announcement. And I think that's something that this is where I go back that love and hate, like that there's a hidden agenda. While we see this as a positive, and I'm not at all trying to take away from the accomplishments of this black woman. I do wonder, not about her, but about the system that she's in, what else is happening. Because around that time, I think Clarence Thomas and his wife were getting blown up about some of the egregious and I think anti-treasonous or treasonous behaviors of his wife. So I always wonder, like
A
her
white woman.
exactly her appointment signaled something, but I also think her appointment was to cover for something. And it's not to say that she was that black pawn, but I do think that out of the pool, that less than 2%, she was the most qualified and the best person to sit on the bench.
I'll just add to that really quickly. We also have to think about she was voted in by Congress, but it is an appointment and it's a lifetime appointment, right? But what job she's being asked to do is interpret the Constitution. Where the game changes is the people that we put in place to interpret that Constitution. We have people who are straight constructionists like Scalia, who we were glad he was gone because like he stuck to it like we were still on the plantation and we're going to stick to the letter of the law, what the Constitution said, not applying it to like how the world is today and perspective on how these laws apply, right? Because it takes a lot for a case to get all the way to the Supreme Court. What we get from the benefit of Justice Jackson is she was raised by Black parents that have a certain background that we can identify with. Whether she got the opportunity to go to Ivy League and she met a white man that was there, we can talk about, what she had to pick from at Harvard too, because once you get to certain levels, ain't a lot of us there. But she brings perspective to the interpretation of the Constitution that will favor us based on her background, or maybe not. It just depends. Her job, which is why she was getting beat up so much in the confirmation hearings, was they were asking her questions that weren't related to her job, and she's not being asked to do. So I think we can focus more on her perspective in being a lifelong Black woman will definitely direct how she views the Constitution and directs it in her rulings. And I think that's where we get the benefit of a Black woman, not just symbolism, but actually her experience and how that translates to how she does the job we're asking her to do.
So why, if that's the case, lifelong experience, why could she not answer the question, what is a woman?
She's not being asked to
No. You said life experience and all that shit. Right. She's been a woman for she's been a woman for 60 years.
That's her experience though, but that's
why could she not answer the question, what is a woman?
She can answer that question.
She can answer.
Did you hear the answer?
She chose not to. Because and this is another thing I like about
it. Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him. Put him in the fucking bedroom. Get him out.
This is what I like about it. As a justice in the highest court, you are going to be addressing an issue from two sides. So that's why you have oral argument. I'm a part of the U.S. Supreme Court bar. Like I interned there. She has to sit on the bench and be neutral to determining,
So now
both
you can't
sides.
answer what a woman is. Do you
What a
understand
woman is,
the problem?
Why does she?
you got to hit a trigger point. What a woman or what a man is something that's constantly being redefined.
Exactly.
Exactly.
See a lot of things going on, but a lot of times of what we know about what it means to be a man or a woman, especially within the Black community, is something that's been given to us and conditioned within us. And so to get to Shannon's point about intersectionality of her being a Black woman, oftentimes Black women are reduced to single issue analysis, meaning that we can't pursue cases on our behalf in the court and judicial system because we can't attach Black men to it, or we're not seen as valued and valuable. Now, how can she answer that question? Because there's going to become a time where that question around what is a woman and laws are going to hit her. It's going to come to the Supreme Court, and she's going to have to be able to judge and decide that fairly. And what I would like to see is someone who's not already biased so much in their opinion that they speak boldly about that, especially when it impacts me.
Yeah. No, I understand. I understand where you're coming from based on the world we live in. I think what conjured that question was because we're so-called banking on all this experience she's had after 50 years as a Black woman, but then something she seemed like she would have known about for these past 50 years. It was just tough for her to answer. So that's why it kind of conjured that thought in my mind. But I don't know if everybody watched it though.
I don't think it was tough for her to answer. I watched it. I don't think it was tough for her to answer. I think we are in a interesting time right now to where what we are considering, or what the world right now is considering a woman, is a variety of different things. So I think for me, when I saw her answer that question, I think she was playing it safe. Like, you know what? I'm not going to go with it. Because if she says one thing, she may upset this group of individuals. She says another thing, she may upset this group of individuals. And to Shane's point, she has to answer neutrally. And I don't understand. I didn't understand what asking that question had to do with anything. A lot of the questions that they asked her, for me, in my opinion, were irrelevant. And that was why there was a lot of controversy surrounding everything that was going on with her, because they were asking her questions that were irrelevant. And she mentioned that when answering one of the questions. What does that have to do with what we're talking about here?
No, I get it. You can't stand on anything nowadays. Makes sense. Well, it's just interesting. That's all.
It's not about standing on something, but if you look at even what happened during the confirmation hearing, it was disrespectful. And I think if she had a Black husband, we would all be up there at the Supreme Court building or at the Congress, you know what I'm saying, and trying to raise hell about what was happening. I think there was a lot of things that happened to her in that particular space and on that stage with her white husband looking, because there was another message that was intended to be sent. I think there's a reason why Clarence was picked to be a Supreme Court justice with his white wife. I think there's something that people want to be able to see from the dominant community, or even some people from our community, as quiet as it's kept, about how can you code switch? How much can you pass in the other world and any other community? And vice versa, is your spouse going to be someone who stands with you in your Blackness, or go back to their whiteness? That's my point.
I think that's a perfect point.
But stuck out to me really quickly is, what if that had been a white man with a Black wife? They're parts of our community where we would have been cheering him on, like, okay, we can trust him. He picked a sister as his wife. You know what I mean? But the flip,
Bill,
like that just always stuck. It wouldn't be a question, and maybe white people wouldn't have trusted him because he had a Black wife. But he can come to the cookout, But it didn't take away from him being a white man. Yeah, it didn't take away. It added to him, right? Yay for Black women. It added to him, to us. But because she's a Black woman as a white man, it's like distrusting of whether you're really a Black woman. That woman been a Black woman her whole life, and she has an experience just like the rest of us.
Yeah, I don't know if your example is. I understand what you're trying to get at, so I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. But Black women date inside their race overwhelmingly, so I don't know how many Black women would champion that.
I'd have been fine with it, but I also come from a very interracial, biracial couple family. So
yeah. Okay. Interesting. I just want to say I think Rhonda's right, but I had to prod at her a little bit. I think I know she had to toe the line, and I think that's unfortunate. You know, that you can't answer questions nowadays. Feel me? But all right, man. Like, share, subscribe. I forgot to say that shit last week. Like, share, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. Like the channel, like it right now. When you do so, it helps the friend. And we out.